So once again, welcome everyone to this webinar. I know most of us, as school leaders, as proprietors, we have a lot of frustrations and difficulty when it comes to the collection of fees. And if you're in that boat, I just want you to know you are not the only person. Almost all schools are having challenges because money is hard to come by. Just as much as we need money to structure our school, parents and guardians also are struggling in terms of money. But we need it because it's something that is necessary to help us run our school. So this morning we're going to share 6-7 ways that we can increase our tuition collection so that we can reduce payment delays and debt and all those stuff. So briefly, that's what we're going to look at. And as Sir Frank shared, at the end of the day, we have prepared a policy that we'll give it to you. Once you're a participant in this webinar, we'll give it to you. It's a template. You can adjust it. You could take some out. You could just work around it and make it a policy and then share it with parents. It should be on your notice board. If you are struggling, Smart App is also there. That will be willing. He has well-trained personnel who can help you also draft your own policy so that you can share with your parents and guardians. To begin with, the first thing I will share with you in terms of strategies to collect your fees is one, to divide your fee collection into 4 parts. Most of us will have this happening. We have those parents who are on time, they are early payment or early pay. They will pay 2 weeks to the semester. They will, headmaster, what can I do? Those people you have no problem with. All you need to do is probably just remind them they will pay. So there's one category of people that we call them the early payers, early payment. And then we have those who wait till the first week of school to pay. They are the second. And then we have the late term payment people. They will wait till 3 weeks, 4 weeks into the school before they will make their payment. And then we have those that you have to chase probably for a year or two for the whole term before they pay. Now, these 4 groups of payment strategies is linked to the school you have. And there was a study that was done in Nigeria, and I want to share that study, and that is going to give us a perspective that you position your school in one of these, and that will help you strategize. One, in 2020, they had a study in Nigeria. They tried to find out the type of schools, and they came up with about 4 different types of schools. These types of schools so different from Ghana. The first type of school they had was the school they called the highly sought after school. This school, they have a very high standard of academic excellence. They are very known. They don't need to advertise, or even if they have to advertise just a little bit. They take limited number of students because they are always having a waiting list. It's a very expensive school. Sometimes you need to take entrance exams before you can get admission into the school. You see, schools like this, they don't have issues with payment at all. Because if you struggle to get your kid in there, you want to pay. Sometimes all the schools need to do is to remind parents fees are due and they will pay. They have very busy parents. So this is one school. The other school we have, the school that came up, is what we call the special schools. These are schools, and to the best of my knowledge and the research, I think most of the private schools, Ghanaian schools, will probably fit in here. This is the school that specifically targets special kinds of students, those that are seeking to have international education. So we run the Cambridge, we run the Oxford one. Those are the schools that run extra curriculum beside the Ghana curriculum. Most of the students that attend this school have dreams of pursuing continuing academics outside. In schools like this, you may not have so much problem with collection of your fees. If only you are able to set up special reminders. And this is where you're going to have a lot of parents there. Oh, I'm traveling. When I get to US, I will pay. I'm going this way. You're going to have some of these issues in terms of those special schools. And some of them will come, oh, I don't have CDs, I have dollars. Do you want me to pay in? Those are the special schools. And that is where, in terms of payment, those are the challenges you're going to get. And then the third school is a school I call the average school. These are schools that are highly sought after. But they do not struggle to get students. They have a particular education standard that they hope to maintain it. These are the schools usually for the middle class, rich families. These are what we call good schools. And most of the private schools also fit in here. Now, these schools have a little bit of challenge, both from guardians, from parents, and from the school itself. At a point in your mind, you think, oh, you know what, this is a good school. If you don't come, somebody will come. At a point, you realize you're having competition. At a point, you realize, you know, if one student just goes out, it's fine. But at the same time, you realize, no, if one student leaves, I need their fees to be able to maintain my school. So this is one of the schools that bring a lot of struggles for managers. Because yes, the school is not going to collapse, but you need the resources from those parents, those students whose parents are delaying. Not that they won't pay, they will delay for one or two reasons. Some of the reasons you've discussed or you just shared. So those are the average school. And then we have the bottom struggling schools. These are the schools that I will not say they are not super good or they are not bad too. They are normal schools. The main challenge some of these schools will be having is competition. If you live in a small community, let's say Pantan, you have a public school, you have about 15 private schools. Your school might be one of the best, but you realize you will be struggling a little bit because the little mistake or any little confrontation with parents, they'll just pull their kid and send them to another school. You want to avoid that. So I call those schools up and coming struggling schools, right? They are usually concentrated at a place where there are many schools and the schools are competing for students. When you have yourself in any, and I can imagine as I'm discussing it, some of you realize, this is where my school is. The position of your school is going to determine how you approach fee collection. If you are the bottom two, the average and the upcoming struggling schools, you need to be very strategic because you are competing with others. If you make the least mistake, you become a Father Christmas, or you have parents pull their words out. So you want to be very strategic how you go about it. And we're going to talk about some of the specific strategies you can use. So I just wanted to share with you these 4 main type of schools. Now, let's look at some of the strategies that we can use. Now, there is this point that I just got last night as I was sleeping. It just came to mind. So it might not be on the PowerPoint, but I need you to notice it down. If possible, 1, have a centralized fee paying system. If possible, have a centralized fee paying system. Do not take fees in your office if you are not the one in charge of fee collection. Some of us make the mistake. Oh, the parent came in and they needed to leave, so I have to take the money and go and pay to the accountant. No. Show them where the accountant is, let them go pay. It will make your life less complicated and less easy. There should be a centralized, and we'll talk about it. If you're using an app that you expect all parents to pay their fees through the app, like Smart App, Do it. Let everybody use that app. If you're going to use Momo, let everybody use it. I know some people argue, oh, but we need to have multiple ways of collecting money. Yes, but it needs to come to a central pool so that at the end of the day, as a proprietor or proprietress or manager, you're able to know, okay, student A and B and C have paid 2%, 3%, 4%. If we disperse it around, sometimes reconciling what people have paid and the balance can be very difficult. So that is one strategy. Number two, clearly communicate what parents are paying for. When you are giving students their bill or their invoice for the next term or incoming students, sometimes you are very ambiguous. We write, oh, miscellaneous, oh, any extra things that, no, go straight forward. If the teacher is going to use 20 books, put it there, 20 books, 50 CDs, put it there. If the young people are going to go for a excursion or field trip and it's going to cost 100 CDs, put it there. Let parents know every detail. So clearly communicate to them what they are paying for. Now, if you have to put in a column for emergency, make sure you explicitly tell them what that emergency could be for. Don't just write, oh, additional charges in case of emergency. No, let them know emergency in case your daughter or son is sick or medical emergency. That's it. Right? Evacuation emergency, fire emergency. Let them know exactly what you have in there. And clearly define the aggregated fees. Don't jumble them together. There's a study that I read about in the UK that admonished that, if possible, do not separate the fees. There are some administrators that we tend to, oh, these are the school fees. These are the extra curriculum fees. It's a danger. There's a danger of doing that. And I agree with the literature. The danger is if I'm a parent and I'm paying for my young people's education, you tell me, oh, this is what they need for tuition. All these things are extra curriculum. Okay, I have money to pay only for the extra curriculum. I have money to pay only for the fees that directly connect to my son or daughter studying. The extra curriculum, they won't go. They won't go for excursion. They've already been to Akosomodam. They don't need to go. They are not going to go. If you tend to separate it, it creates this idea in the minds of parents that certain things are important, others are not important. So the literature says that integrate them. Let them know this is part of the curriculum. This is part of what students need to be able to excel. So don't separate those. Clearly communicate instruction on payment. How can you do it? You need to be able to have a system set up, an automated SMS, just like MTN, Tigo, and those people will be reminding you when your data is going off, and then automatically something will tell you your data is almost used up. You need to have a payment system, reminding automated system, whether it's a WhatsApp, SMS, emails, with a clear step-by-step payment instruction. Make payment due dates visible. Highlight them. If you have to give them colors, make it bold, green, red. Let parents know this is the deadline. And we'll talk about those 4 categories of payment I discussed. We're going to talk about it. As administrators, sometimes we could put some things inside to incentivize parents. For example, if you pay 2 weeks to school reopening or a week to school reopening, you get 1% discount. You get 200 Ghana cedis discount. It's possible. You can do that. We'll talk more about it. Communicate the process often and continually refresh parents. Don't just do it at the beginning and you stop it. No. Once, maybe a month, you decide as an administrator, maybe every other week, send a quick SMS, refresh parents, those that have paid their fees, thank you so much for supporting the school. Those that have fees to go, please remember, we need these fees to do that. Set up something that will continuously remind parents. Do information sessions. Intentionally invite parents to come to the school. You know, something we are not doing so well in Ghana that I've observed is until there are serious things happening in the school, parents don't even come to the school. Some of them will send their drivers to drop their kids. Find a way of moving a parent to the school. Do it. You see, when you teach in North America, as somebody who has trained teachers, one of the things that I observed is that the school intentionally put up things in place to force you as a parent to go. I remember there were a couple of days I had to reschedule some of my classes just to go and meet the teacher of my kid. Why? They will tell you, we need to update you what your son or daughter is doing. They don't need a cousin, they don't need a brother, they don't need a sister, they need a mom or a dad. Unless that kid has no parents, then whoever is the guardian will come in. But they need somebody that is closely connected to this young person to be in the school. And we can also do that. What that does to you is, it gives the parents consciousness that, oh, my son, my daughter is learning something. I love the school environment, the way the principal met me, the way the teacher is so lovely. If you are able to convince this person to pay fees, they will. But if you don't invite them into the school, a point will come, paying fees becomes difficult. So find a way of inviting parents, even if it's once a term or in the year, it will do you a lot of good. So open houses, during orientation, put something that will bring parents there. You can also record videos or webinars, just like what we are doing, giving step-by-step payment explanation. Go to, if you are using, let's say, Smart App. So when you log into your Smart App, go to the menu, fees, go to maybe KG2, check the breakdown of payment, agree, put in your Momo number, click yes, payment goes through. You receive a text message that payment is working. Simple, straightforward instructions. This will make your work very easy for you. Now, establish well-defined payment options. I know we all have different ways of doing it. Some allow parents to go to the bank and pay. Some do it through Momo. Some do it through credit cards and all those. Pick one or two that works for you. Now, talking about well-defined payment options, you may have, when I listen to the complaints that, or the experience with collection of fees, some parents may genuinely have issues. So the question I ask you as a proprietor, what payment plan can you make with them? I don't want you to, I encourage you to be proactive. Don't hide it. When you meet parents, tell them, if you know you cannot pay the fees at a go, we can sit down with you and make payment plan. And make sure parents understand the consequences of going against the payment plan or not paying. You see, we are fond of saying, oh, it's okay, no problem, it will be fine, just bring it when you have 2 weeks. Don't just use your mouth to make agreement. Put it on pen and paper. Let parents sign. Send them reminders. You have 2 weeks. This might be a very difficult process, tedious. You might need a whole person in your administration to do this for you. But trust me, if you're able to get this in place, your life will be very easy. Offer parents some plans. Those of you who pay outright, you have 3% off. Those who want to pay 50%, we can give you 1 month or 2 weeks to pay the rest. If you don't pay it, this is the consequences, A, B, C, D. Put it in a policy form. Let them sign it. So make sure you clarify how the payment should be done, and if there is any payment plan. Don't use your mouth or just language to guarantee it. No. All right. Set reminders. This is key. There are many softwares that, as a school, you can adopt that will make your life very easy. Very, very easy. Apps like Smart App, and there might be other ones that gives you set up an automatic reminder. You put in the information and it will SMS the parent. It's time, 2 weeks to reopening, fees are due. This is what your son is entitled or your daughter is supposed to pay. Find something, find a way to set up reminders. The warning is do not overdo it. Like MTN and Tigo and those people overdo. Sometimes they'll send you 4, 5, 10 messages a day. You don't want to do that. You get parents bored and upset. Make it simple and easy to read. Thank you. This is Trinity Christian School. This is just a reminder that 50 cedis payment is the balance of the tuition for the 2023-24 academic year. Thank you for supporting academic work. Simple as that. Don't break it down. Oh, you have you paid 25 and then you are left with 50. Not in a text message. It should be very, very simple. And if possible, send individual specific reminders. Individual specific reminders. Don't make it a lump sum. This might be difficult and may need a lot of logistics, but it will help you. Because sometimes you send text messages to parents who have already paid their fees, they get upset. Why is this manager always sending me text messages even though I've paid my fees? So have your book works, have your accounting systems really put in place so that you are able to send a text message to the right people. So that you don't get parents upset, especially if you are the last 2 group of schools. Simplify tuition payment. Make it very simple. If you are using a software, simple, straightforward, what to do. If you are using Momo, simple, straightforward, what to do. My advice is to make it easier for you to be able to get the relationship between fee payment and your records. As I said, there are a lot of softwares that now can instantly, if let's take it, my son owes 20 cedis and my mom's, I send it through Momo. Somebody need to go through the Momo and say, okay, this is Isaac Darko, he has paid 20, go back to the book and record it. Now, there are softwares that you just input the names and the amount students owe into the system. And the moment the money hits the system, it just tells you paid. So when I go in as a manager or as a proprietor or a proprietress, I just go in and I realize this is paid, this is paid, this is paid. So I don't need to send text messages to those parents again. So invest in the right software, invest in the right people so that it will be easier for you. Now, one of the things I would like to discuss is about streamlining overdue payment and outage. This is one of the very difficult tasks. And I will urge you, if possible, get a dedicated person with good communication skills to do this. Because any wrong move, any wrong language used can jeopardize a whole lot of things. Remember, parents are friends. If I share a very bad experience with Mr. A, he will share it with Mr. B. Mr. B will share it with Mr. C. And by the time you realize they are pulling their kids from the school. Get somebody who has good communication skills. I was told of a story in one of our private schools here. A parent came in to pay fees. This school had multiple ways of paying. Signing the payment was a bit difficult. He went into the office, paid the money. And unfortunately, they did not update the accountant that this person has come in to pay money to the teacher. Just a day after, they have somebody who calls parents and remind them of their fees. And when they called, this parent was a bit upset. Said, I just walked into your office yesterday and paid my fees. Why are you calling me again? Why are you guys doing this? And instead of the one from the school on the other point say, oh, madam, I apologize. Maybe I haven't reconciled my accounts. The person also got upset. And one thing led to the other. The parent came to the school, and ended up pulling all the three kids from the school. That's a big loss to the school. So you want to have somebody who has good communication skills to follow up, not just with phone calls. Emails. Now, some emails can be very insulting. Some emails can be very troubling. When you read it, you feel like throwing up. So you want to be very careful when you are doing follow-ups. Get somebody who knows how to talk. When a parent is upset, get somebody who will be able to cool the person down. There's a proverb in Akan that says, any asem that comes with yakasa, it out. Find somebody who is calm in the midst of anger. Find somebody who can bring tempers down. And most of the time, my advice for you is ask the proprietor or the manager, don't get involved unless it's way up there. Because sometimes you look at the investment you've put in. Sometimes you look at all the efforts you are making. And if a parent comes in and is trying to play a game, you can easily get upset. So get a third party, get somebody. It only comes to you when it gets out of hand. So automate fee follow-up technology. Automate it. Get a software. Get a system in place that will be able to follow up. Managing the collection of fees can be very, very challenging. But you can eliminate many of these headaches if you and your team invest in the right technology and the right people. We are dealing with human beings. So I usually don't leave out the human aspect. No matter how technology will help you, at a point, human beings need to step in. So make sure your process is evolving and you are implementing powerful tuition and billing software system. Get hardworking business people who are dedicated, who can collect fees for you without you stressing. You see, as a proprietor, as a manager, it's not your responsibility to be collecting fees. There should be somebody solely dedicated to do this. Now I'm going to touch on some things to avoid during this process. One, make sure your messaging is consistent. Please don't tell parent A, if you pay 2 weeks to the time, you get 5%. And go and tell parent B, you get 2%. They talk. So if you don't have consistency, they're going to fight you at the end of the day. Make sure you have a consistent message. If you're sending the same message to early payers, send the same message. To those who are in debt, defaulters, send the same message. To those who are in late payment, send the same message. Don't contradict yourself. That is why you need to sit down and plan the message you're going to send. Don't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to send this message to parents who owe me. You'll make a mistake. Have a template. The messages you're going to send when a fee is delaying, when parents have done well and they are paying consistently, what message are you going to send to them? Parents who are struggling, what options do you have for them? Sit down and think about it. And this is where we have experts. We have people who can help you sit down and do this. If possible, make payment plan with parents who might be in some difficulty. And I know this is possible. I know some people will say, oh, but if you do that, they all take advantage of it. It's okay. Once you have a policy down, I will prefer we go on a policy and people follow the policy than having no policy and people do what they want. Policy that comes with consequence. If you don't pay, this is what happens to your child. If you pay on time, this is what happens to you. And let's be consistent with our rewards and punishments. Let us not discriminate. Oh, I know Mr. So and so. So even if he pays late, that's fine. But because I don't know Mr. B, if he pays late, his son will go out of the class. We need to be consistent and fair. Never take a collateral for your fees. Oh, I promise you I'm going to pay. You take these papers of my car. That's evidence that I'm going to pay. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because it has a lot of legal implications. It can bring troubles for you as a manager of a school. Don't. There's a story of somebody who took an object, I think a gold ring or something, as a collateral, and went for 2 times. The parents was not paying. He sold it. The guy came back and he said, I sold it for 5,000. He said, no, that gold is worth 10,000. Why did you sell it for 5,000? And it became a whole new story. So be very careful with collateralization. It's very, very dangerous place to be. To the best of your ability, do not punish students for parents' payment issue. Don't let us be quick to punish them. Okay, go home. Okay, don't come to school for 2 weeks. I'm not saying we'll call for that. But that should be the last resort. That should be the last resort, to punish students for payment issues with parents. Some of these young people have no direct impact on whether they have money to pay fees or not. So let that be the last resort. Make some provision to accommodate parents who are genuinely going through some financial challenges, and at the same time, avoid the Father Christmas syndrome. If you're going to put in place a scholarship system, put it in place. Let parents aware. Let them be aware. Yes, I know you don't have money. The school can support you with 10% off. We can give your ward free books. But you need to pay this. You need to pay this. You need to. And this is for those who are genuinely struggling. You can put things in place for them to show them that you care. But be very careful you don't become Father Christmas. Otherwise, people will take advantage. Do your own investigation to find out if genuinely this parent, this family is in need. And that will help you decide what you can do to support that person. You can manage the complicated process of fee collection by adopting suitable technology with a human touch.